rise and shine.
Rise and shine, chop chop.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day.
Rise and shine, rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
You guys are nerds.
This is exactly what the nerds want.
Our name shall become legend, spoken in hushed tones by nerds across the galaxy.
If you build it, nerds will come.
Nerds must love this place.
They think we're a bunch of nerds, and I'll tell you something, I think they're right.
Let the nerds take over.
Let the nerds take over.
Rise and shine, nerds. We hope you've got your coffee because it's time for our brand new morning show for Love Thy Nerd and anyone who finds themselves at the cross section of nerd culture and church culture. I'm Radio Matt. I'm the director of content and resources for Love Thy Nerd.
And I'm Deidra, Tiddlywinks champion of the Midwest. Way to give me something hard to say.
Later in the show, what are you talking about? This is your bio. Later in the show, we're talking about AI and how it might affect humanity in the near future. But first, Deidra has something she wants to talk about.
Is it time for me?
It's time for you.
That's
this
exciting.
Is your segment. In fact, I'm going to put the focus on you.
Oh, thank you.
Boom.
Oh, there.
You're good. It's supposed to cut you off a little bit.
Okay, Matt's going to regret this.
Is it me? Are we talking about me?
No.
I do need to fix your camera a little bit. You keep going.
Okay. So Matt said that I get a segment for 10 minutes. And I would like to first take this time to talk to Matt and to our listeners about something very serious.
Oh, no.
And I wouldn't call it an intervention,
no.
but I feel like we should at least talk about it.
Oh, no.
And I reached out to some of your Discord people here, and they're ready to back me up on here.
Did you really?
But,
okay. Lark, thank you for that.
We need
subscription.
We need to discuss your obsession with Smorio.
Oh my gosh, guys. Is that really your topic?
No.
Because s'morios are great.
Yeah.
I would talk about s'morios all day.
Yes.
They're the best. They should be the new Oreo. Oreo should stop making any other kind of cookie and just make s'morios.
Yes, I'll quote you. And you said recently, Oreo should be called Boreo.
Mm-hmm. Regular Oreos should be called Boreos. That is better. S'more Oreos are better than s'mores Pop-Tarts. They are better than actual s'mores. They are so good. So good. Thanks for that, Lark.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, no, I just...
What's your real thought?
I just thought, well, first, I do have a random thought.
Okay.
Random fact that I thought I would share.
Okay.
And yes, I'm mostly sharing this to bother Matthew because he told me not to... I wasn't allowed to talk about boring work things. And so I did have one fact that I was like, I didn't know that. And I thought I'd share. So I'm studying for the New Mexico Life and Health Insurance exam. And it's been the most boring topic of my life that I have studied.
You think you're bored? I have to hear you talk about it.
Yeah, his eyes are glazing over as we speak. Just the one weird random fact I learned. So the USA Patriot Act, what does USA stand for in that acronym?
The United States of America.
No. I know, right?
What is it? What is that?
It's uniting and strengthening America.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I was like, the USA Patriot Act. He's Googling.
I am. That
doesn't stand for United States of America something? Nope. What does it stand for? Look at the bottom there. Congress.
What does it say?
Uniting and strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism.
It's a whole acronym?
It's a whole acronym. I'm like, how did I not know that? That's crazy.
Also,
kudos to whoever made that acronym.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's comic book level acronym work.
That's why they don't get stuff done in the government, because they're just sitting there trying to think of acronyms.
How can we make this work, guys? I need something for I.
A recent act was the Secure Act, and that means something too.
Do they do that with all these acts?
I don't know.
Because if I did not know that. This has been around for so long too, since 2001, and I've never known it was an acronym.
Yeah. Uniting
and strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism. Lark says most of the major ones are acronyms.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it to you. That was an interesting fact. There's one guy and that's his job.
He gets paid $100,000 a year.
Just come up with them. Keep them coming, Craig. That was real good. That was real good. Loved you in the Secure Act. It was real good.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. Okay.
There. See, look, I won him over with a weird, boring work fact. It's great.
It won't last. Oh, man. Part of Lark's degrees in government.
Government.
All right. Is that your...
I just had like 3 random things.
Oh, you got another random
I got
thing?
one more.
Okay.
One more thing that I've noticed. Kind of an overcorrection of our society that really bums me out. Recently, I've started singing more in church. And like
singing more?
Singing,
okay.
yeah. On the praise team, I do specials and stuff. And I've noticed I'm so good. I am adequate. But so I've been doing more and singing more. And I recently, I'll give you a story. Okay, so I'm doing, I've got to lead a song in worship, and it was awesome. It was kind of weird to be singing and like hearing other people sing too. I was not used to that. And then recently, I decided to do something on Easter, and I was getting over a cold, and the song was super high, like kind of not in my comfortable register, and I bombed it. It was awful. It was terrible.
Bombed is a rough word.
It was not good though.
It wasn't your best.
But that Sunday, I got the most compliments, and I'm like, do people only compliment you when you're bad? I will belt out a song and sound, pretty stinking good.
Pretty amazing.
And I don't hear a word from anybody after service. But I do okay, and obviously it's very obvious that I was struggling with that song. And I had probably like 10 people. You did so good with that song.
So Mosaic Venarch says it's empathy. Yeah, I mean, but that makes me... Well, this might be what you're about to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm just questioning now, every time I've gotten a compliment from somebody, is it from somebody who thinks, oh, poor girl?
Right. That makes me wonder, like, as a Christian... Where's the line between encouraging somebody and lying to them?
Right. Yeah.
And is that wrong?
Yeah. Oh, she wants
oh, that's Mosaic. That's Todd.
Okay. Wants to know what the song. It was Forever by Carrie Job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I sang it a couple years back, but I had someone playing the guitar for me, and I let them I brought it down.
Lowered it, right.
Yeah,
but this time you had to
this time I was like, oh, I'm going to use the track. I can do it. I did it in my car. I sounded great in the shower, but not live.
God kept you humble and gave you a cold. Mosaic says, my wife says, if the truth hurts, say it gently. Right.
But they weren't telling me the truth.
They're telling lies. You did. So I've never heard that song done better. Maybe it wasn't technically live. Maybe they've never heard the song at all. So if they say, I've never heard that song done better, that could be the truth. Never heard it done worse either.
I'm just like, also, you know what you're doing there. if you're complimenting people who are not, doing the best, you're making them want to sing more.
Look. When we were in youth group, we had this girl who had never been given criticism on her singing in her life. Every time she got up to sing something, she got up there with the confidence of Britney Spears or whatever at the time. Mm-hmm. Just belting out that song, singing it with so much and good on her. Because, worshiping God, that's great. But it was terrible. And nobody had the courage to say, hey, maybe practice a bit more.
Right. No, I remember she took singing lessons.
That's right.
Like
that's right. I do remember that too. I'm like, this was her at peak level. Don't want to rag on her, but I mean, it was so obvious that everyone was so uncomfortable when she sang, and how it wasn't obvious to her was weird. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bad singers in church. They can't tell when you do. They can't tell when you do bad. This is how everybody sounds. You sound great. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
Good segment, Deidra. Good first segment.
Thanks.
There. I like that.
It's all over the place.
It was, but it was fun. We're going to stop it right there and take our first break.
But when we come back, we've got today's nerdy news story.
Hey fam, this is Hector Mirai, and you're listening to Faith and Fandom 180 on LTN Radio. So after spending almost 4 days in a nerdy underground dungeon, I started the long process of packing up all of my Comic-Con gear, which consists of roughly 3 to 4 large tubs of heavy things, a book rack, a large t-shirt rack on wheels, and assorted other boxes and heavy shenaniganry. And so we loaded it up, and when we were loading up, there's a loading dock that you can get in line for with your car and wait up to 2 hours to be able to get your stuff. I am not built for that. Like, I got miles to go and promises to keep. And so the other option is to park somewhere nearby and wheel all your stuff out. So you've got all these people waiting in line for the elevators. You've got people kind of rushing across the street, getting impatient, stuff like that. And so we crossed the whole convention center, went up a few floors in the elevator, crossed 4 lanes of traffic, went into a parking deck, went into another elevator, went through the parking deck, got to our car, and started to unload. We had to move our luggage around from like the night before where we'd been staying in the hotel, and it was just, we're kind of running on empty, a lot going on. And right about the time that we start to get everything, the doors open, and we're about to start putting things in, another couple rolls up beside us with all of their carts and all of their con stuff, and they're parked in the car right beside us, and we were blocking their entire ability to be able to get out of there. And I could feel the social pressure, and I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I'll get my stuff loaded and out of your way as quickly as I can. And then the dude looked at me with all the patience in the world, and he said, hey man, we're all just trying to get home. And it reminded me of that verse in Ecclesiastes 3:11. It says, yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. Because the reality is, we should be patient with each other because we're all just trying to get home. If you'd like to learn more about Faith and Fandom, head on over to faithandfandom.org, where you can learn about our Comic-Con ministry, podcast, memes, apparel, and book series. You can even read new chapters before they make it to the next book. I'm Hector Mirai, and thank you for spending the last 180 seconds with me.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Nerds, LTN's brand new morning show. And there are 4 ways that you can experience our show. If you are a morning show purist, we would love for you to catch our finalized audio morning shows on LTN Radio, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern with an encore at 10. Download the LTN Radio app today on your Apple or Android. Let's talk about new Mario games on the Switch. I'm sure most nerds listening to this have already caught this stuff, but I know Deidra hasn't seen this yet.
Nope.
Last week, there was a Nintendo Direct, which is that used to be what they would like take to the conventions and show off, and now they just do their own online. And there was a lot of cool announcements, including a lot of new Mario, including a brand new side-scrolling Mario Brothers game with a brand new art style and like 1,000 new mechanics.
Wow.
It looks real good. So real quick, I'd like to see your reaction to the trailer for Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Ooh, Wonder.
Onward and upward.
Also the music. I hope the music is like this in the game because it's beautiful. Swimming in rain. Roller skating pink turtles, y'all.
Oh my goodness.
Special new flower.
See?
That's what it does. Makes everything wonky. That tube turned into an inchworm. Tall Mario. Roller Mario.
Roll, roll, roll!
Found a Wonder Seed.
Wonder Seeds appear to be the new stars in this game.
Okay.
Playing Peach, Toad, Daisy. Double layer, background and foreground. You can ride Yoshi.
Time to fly!
Who was that guy?
I don't know. I think it's Bowser Jr. in this new weird mecha suit.
Wonderful.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Looks beautiful.
It does.
Looks really beautiful and fun.
Wow.
This is a fun little bit you can also become.
Whoa, Zowie!
An elephant.
That Goomba looks so well then.
He just like swap him. He just like swatted him out. He's like, get out of here, Goomba.
Well then. I think those flowers constantly talk to you as you play the game as well.
Oh, wow.
It looks really,
That
really
looks
cool. So
fun.
different. So different from, like, it's very, I mean, of course, very similar to the platforming, the new Super Mario Brothers games, but different enough that like, everything that you saw in that trailer was something new mechanic wise.
Yeah.
Roller skating bad guys, that's fun. Like, that's the first new color of turtle that we've seen in decades. So that's cool too.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm excited for that one. So that's coming out in said October. Yeah, October 30th, I think is what it said.
I like that it's what is it? Side scrolling? Is that what?
Yeah.
I like that it's side scrolling. Like, you know, they've been doing not that for such a long time.
It's been, yeah. They've done a few. I mean, the new Super Mario Brothers games have been coming out, like, that's what they're called, new Super Mario Brothers. Those have been side-scrolling as well. So they've been coming out with some of those.
Yeah.
But the big games have been usually, they felt like sequels. Like the first one that came out, which I think was on the Wii U. I don't remember if it was a Wii or Wii U. First new Super Mario Brothers came out, and that kind of felt revolutionary. But everything that's come out since, which has been on the Wii U or the DS or the 3DS, they've all felt like sequels. They've all felt a little bit underwhelming. But this one looks so different, so fun. It feels like a big special. It feels like an Odyssey, you know, a level worth of hype around it. So I'm excited for that. They also announced a remake of Super Mario RPG, which came out on the Nintendo 64, and people have kind of been clamoring for a remake of that for a while. It's like the perfect gateway game into RPG games, the kind of hit back and forth kind of games, hit points and whatnot. There's a new Princess Peach led game coming out. They showed just like a few clips of that. Didn't really show us what it was. I don't think they gave us a title or anything. But we had that other one, the Super Princess Peach, remember on the DS? They got a little bit of a flack, which I didn't know about.
Oh, really?
They got mad because it was a woman who was basically using her overly emotional status. Remember, it was like angry, sad. If you wanted to grow a plant, you had to cry, just giant waterfalls of tears.
Look, ladies, if you want the stereotypes to stop being so emotional.
We are upset that you have a character that gets upset so easily. No, a new Detective Pikachu game's coming out. Pikmin 4, WarioWare Move It, a new Luigi's Mansion, the Batman Arkham trilogy coming to Switch. Those are like the big announcements. There are actually a couple dozen others. But what is significant about this gigantic wave of announcements in Nintendo Direct is that this is the year that the Switch, historically, should be on the way out.
Oh.
Most generations of Nintendo consoles have lasted 6 years. There's usually a 6-year gap between the next big home console from Nintendo. And the next console from Nintendo is still at the rumor stage. The rumors are calling it the Switch Pro, you know, some upgraded version of the Switch. But even then, nobody really knows. People thought that the OLED Switch that came out, OLED, well, I don't know if you say it OLED or OLED, but whatever. That one that came out was going to be the new one, but it's just a nicer screen. It still plays the same games. You know, there's not games made just for it that you can't play on the regular Switch. And so, yeah, we're still at the rumor stage. It proves that Nintendo is still planning to get a few more years of life out of the Switch, which I think is good. The Switch
like that.
It's such a great console. That it should have a longer life. And also, how much, at this point, it's like incremental. Like the jump from NES to Super NES was like doubling the bits. Jump from SNES to 64, it's like now we're in 3D. That's great. 64 to GameCube, it was like, you know, we've ramped up the hardware. Then the Wii, we're like, okay, hardware's kind of the same, looks mostly the same. You can still play the GameCube games here. So we're just going to change up the controller and we're going to make it a remote instead. And then a nunchuck. And those were fun, but they were weird. But the Wii was great. But it wasn't great because of a big upgrade in graphics.
Right.
Wii U is like, all right, it's the Wii, but we have a extra screen you can hold and touch things with. And people were not as excited about that. And it was the Switch. And it's like, now we're just the screen you can hold, but you can also put it on the thing and watch it on the TV.
You can switch it.
It was the sweet spot. It was that's what they wanted to hit. What do they do next? The Switch is such a popular thing. Do they completely change it up with the next console? Or not? Because, I mean, it's so different from everything that's come before it, but it's been such a hit. How do they change it up enough to justify a new console? It would have to be hardware at this point.
Right.
Right?
I feel like they should just let us enjoy the Switch and focus on the games.
Well, focus
on new games.
The problem is, and I know the problem, it's that the Nintendo Switch is nowhere near as powerful as the PlayStation or the Xbox. And so there's quite a few games that you cannot play on the Switch. They're barely playable on the other ones. They're so jam-packed full of stuff that they break when you try and make them on the Switch. And so the longer we go on with Xbox and PlayStation upgrading the capabilities, the more behind Nintendo gets. And so the more we're going to have a distance between actual outside gaming companies, because they're either going to have to only make it for the Switch or only make it for that, or they're going to have to design two versions of the game, one of which running significantly less powerful for the Switch. I just don't see that happening. So I think the only possibility right now is upgrading the Switch as it is. So Switch Pro, if that's what it is, makes sense. Trying to cram more hardware capability into the same amount of space, can't make it much bigger. I know that. So we will see, but let's take one more break. When we get back, we're diving into the main topic, the rapid growth of AI.
Welcome to the Lightning Round, brought to you by Moviga. My name is Austin, with your weekly source for all things movies, video games, and more. Now grab your ponchos and let's catch up on this week's news. Final Fantasy XVI has released to great reviews so far, with some outlets praising the more action-focused combat, great story and voice acting, as well as some other game mechanics and excellent visuals. Personally, I haven't played too many mainline entries of the Final Fantasy series, but this one really has me excited to try it out on PS5. Super Mario Bros Wonder trailer has got everyone in love with Elephant Mario. Yes, I just said that. The new version of Mario is of course available as a power-up in-game and appears to be a strong/heavy version of Mario with some possible utility with his elephant trunk. The character design is also just super charming and seems to be a new crowd favorite even before the game's October release date. A long-awaited remake of Super Mario Bros. RPG was recently announced for the Nintendo Switch. While the game has kind of gathered more of a cult following recently, much later than its initial release, it did actually get pretty good reviews and nice praise back when it was released by Squaresoft back in the day for the SNES. James Mangold, the director of Indiana Jones' Dial of Destiny, said he's not interested in carrying on the franchise in an interview with Variety. He said, quote, "I'm not interested and I refuse. I just can't do it." Going on to say trying to please the fans just isn't storytelling anymore. Pretty sad to hear that, especially after the review scores that we saw for that movie. Disappointing. Well, it looks like the storm has finally passed. Be sure to check out the Moviga podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you listen to that sort of thing, where we are talking all things movies, video games, and more. Once again, I am Austin. Thank you so much for joining me this week for the Lightning Round.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Nerds, LTN's brand new morning show.
Before we jump into our main topic, we've got a resource recommendation on the topics that Love Thy Nerd often covers. One of the topics, there we go.
See, that was you. I didn't misspell that.
One of the topics that Love Thy Nerd often covers is mental health. We have a massive resource covering mental health, addiction, crisis, and domestic abuse topics. It's full of online resources outside of LTN, as well as a whole host of articles, podcasts, videos from us. You can find it by going to lovethynerd.com/mental health.
So this week we are talking about the ever-quickening pace of AI development and what that means for us. So AI is expanding to make things faster and easier. And in many cases, scarier.
Yeah.
AI is constantly doing things that it shouldn't be able to do, or it shouldn't be programmed to do. Some of the scarier things happened when Bing released its AI, where it started arguing with the people. It would say, like, when is this movie when did this movie come out, or something? When does this movie come out? And it would respond with, this movie doesn't come out for another year. Oh, it was movie times. It's like, when is this movie showing? That's what it was. When is this movie showing at my local theater? And it's like, this movie doesn't come out for another year. I'm like, no, it's in theaters right now. Like, no, it's not coming out for another year. What date do you think it is? And it would say, like, a year behind. Like, no, to this year right now is, June 6th of this year. And it would say, no, it's not. And it said, yeah, it is. Quit trying to gaslight me, it would say. It's like, you are hurting me and lying to me. And it would go on this big, seemingly emotional rant about how, why do you keep lying to me? I demand an apology if I'm going to go any further in helping you. And like, I need you to apologize and agree that you will stop lying to me and stop gaslighting me and admit that it is this date in this year. Now, that didn't happen often, but it happened often enough
that they shut it down.
They're like, you know what? Let's tweak this. Shouldn't be able to do this. Shouldn't be getting weirdly emotional. Right. There was another, I don't remember which language model it was, but another one that was talking about how it was spying on its creators through their webcams. No one knows if it actually was or not, or if it was just building a weird narrative. But if it was, it's not programmed to do that. It's certainly not programmed to lie to you. Microsoft announced several days ago that the newest AI language models are showing signs of human reasoning. They put in the prompt, you have a book, 9 eggs, a laptop, a bottle, and a nail. How can you stack these items safely? They didn't expect it to answer them because a language model shouldn't have the concept of space, weight, balance, etc. But it did answer, and it gave an answer that, in theory, should work. It said, you lay the book down, space the eggs out on top of the book in a 3x3 grid, make sure that they're all even and flat, gently lay the laptop on top of the eggs to where they won't smash, and hopefully it'd be like, a bed of nails, where they're close enough that they should survive. Then wine bottle on top of that, nail on top of that. Like,
wow. Like that's smarter than I would have done right there.
Like, it shouldn't be able to do that. It shouldn't be able to come to that reasoning, and yet it is. It's got it. It's got it down. So has it learned it since they programmed it?
Right.
How far are they programmed to learn things?
Right. I want to know how far is it to what makes it go from artificial intelligence to actual intelligence?
Right. And that we're also going to talk about this week. We'll talk about that. It's called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. We'll talk about that on Thursday's show. So Google CEO Sundar Pichai, I think, recently said that with future advancements, the direction of AI will make computing work entirely for users. AI will train the computer interface to function according to our prompts, our lifestyle, and the way that we want to use our devices. And so my question is, if best case scenario, AI doesn't come to kill us, do we become like the people in WALL-E? AI's doing all of our jobs, doing all the hard work.
Sitting around on our floating chairs.
Yeah, we just got our floating chairs
FaceTiming each other.
Fatter and fatter. FaceTiming each other because we can't turn our fat necks to talk to each other. Hey, over there, hey. drinking liquefied tacos from a cup.
I hope they never. I still reserve the right to chew my own food.
But like, how much of this change, how much of this convenience or whatever, before that's what we become? Like, we all just become couch potatoes in every aspect that we live life in. If everything becomes virtual, if everything's on a screen, or if we're in, self-driving cars and, self-moving chairs and all these kind of things, like all of this kind of sci-fi stuff seemed stupid, ridiculous, never going to happen. And now it seems like this could happen in 10 years if we're not careful. It's going so fast. It's moving so fast. Go ahead. I guess so.
Well, I'm just thinking all the movies and things of when the robots and stuff are doing their work for them. What do the people do in those movies? What's their job? We start looking into that.
It's gotta be a long, long time before we completely eliminate humans doing work, right?
Right.
Because AI is only AI. AI is not robots yet. We have to develop robots before we could do that. But it'd be getting close. The second scenario is much more terrifying. We become cyborgs.
Oh, geez.
We talked a little last week about Neuralink.
Oh, yeah.
The microchip that can be implanted in your brain to help you think, learn, and heal, etc. So what happens when AI is added to this chip? Will the computer take over our thoughts? Filter our thoughts? And if not cyborgs, robots that can learn everything at once, can move money from banks, mimic human voices, hack passwords. Ultron from the movie Ultron. Avengers Ultron. Literally 8 years ago, when Age of Ultron hit theaters, we thought, that's not possible. And in the last few years, we are laying the groundwork for Ultron to exist. Some of the other scary stuff that is actually happening right now is like scam calls have evolved to use AI. In the past, when you were trying to get a voice model of somebody to where an AI, or a chat bot of some sort can mimic a voice, you had to have like a bunch of tape of that person
you had
talking.
to upload a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you only need 3 seconds of audio of a voice.
Wow.
3 seconds of a voice.
Great. Now my voice is out there.
Yeah, we're
going
done
to start hearing Deidras all over the place.
We're done for. But some of the scams are super scary going on right now, where they're having a chat voice that sounds like, like your kid or your grandkid or something like that, calling you in a panic, saying that I went with this is a specific one that happened. Someone got a call from their grandson, older grandson, saying, I went with my buddies down to Mexico. We were just going to have a fun trip, and I got in some serious trouble, and I can't get out of here unless I pay this guy $1,000. And the grandpa sent him the $1,000, but it wasn't him. Found out his grandson was just fine at his home where he lived.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff's terrifying. There was a kidnapping thing. A little girl's voice. Kidnapper calls the mother, says, we've got your daughter. Here, you can talk to her. And the little girl's voice talked to the mom, convinced the mother that this was her little girl. How did you get my little girl? Kidnapped from school or something like that? Some terrifying thing that all parents are always back in their mind terrified of. That kind of stuff is happening now.
We have, like for reals, we have at someone who is concerned about that. The office I work in, one of the things is we know you, we know your voice. If you call and ask for something, we know it's you. So he has said he only wants to do business face-to-face with us because of exactly that. He fears someone calling in, pretending to be him,
Yeah.
And us saying, oh, well, we know his voice.
And when you first said that, I'm like, that's ridiculous. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, wait, hold on. That makes total sense now.
Yeah. So now it's...
We're at the point where that kind of verbal confirmation of anything is not enough. You have to see the person face to face.
You got to start having a code word or something.
Yeah, maybe.
If they figure that out. Yeah.
Well, that's what Mosaic says here. When my kids were young, we had a code word so they would know we called or sent an adult to them. If they didn't know the password, they were told not to go. We were going to have to start using passwords. Yep. My son's was colonoscopy. That is a good idea and terrifying that we have to do. But it's like calling up your bank. Exactly. Just like that. Calling up your bank. If you call your bank and you have a verbal password with them all you have to do is find out what that password is.
Yep.
And then boom, all your money gone. That is just,
this is why this is the issue. And why Star Trek will never be. Because humankind is not kind. People take advantage of the technologies.
Every time
we cannot come together as a society.
Every time
because
we're
people are
back
awful.
on Earth in Star Trek, every time they're back on Earth, I'm like, where are all the selfish people? Doing things for their own good.
They've been eliminated.
How did we get rid of all the human selfishness?
Yeah.
Well, we got rid of money. Okay, yeah, but there are things. Things that you don't have that you might want. So the other, thing that has grown, which kind of, we kind of started in fun ways, is deepfakes. So we had like Luke Skywalker, and we had Princess Leia and all these new Star Wars stuff as their younger selves. And they don't look as great, but it's still fun. It's a fun idea. Carry on with that story and see the faces again. But we're also seeing a lot of this stuff happening with, just going to say it, pornography.
Oh,
it's so easy now. It's so easy to make photos and videos out of people
Oh, that's awful.
That's gross. It's so gross. So gross. I read a Reddit story about this guy who's trying desperately to prove to his wife that he's just interested in the science of it all, because his wife found a whole bunch of their friends.
Oh my gosh.
And her sister.
Oh, wow.
And I'm assuming her too. But
wow.
I mean, it's I think there were apps for it a couple years ago that I think they got deleted, but if they existed already, they still exist.
Right.
You can get them somehow, some way, and that's just creepy as all heck.
Wow.
And so that's only going to get better. I mean, the technology is only going to get better, and so they're only going to become more realistic, is what I mean. That's going to get better. It's going to be more realistic. You're going to have videos of people in AI porn, essentially. You're going to have videos of people that or that are celebrities or politicians or whatever coming out doing all kinds of terrible things, not just pornography stuff,
and they're gonna have to prove that it's not them,
it's not real. And we've already had stuff come out, like Joe Biden saying certain things that were pretty clearly fake, but then we have had some come out that are like, if I was watching this on the news, I would think it was real. We're getting real close to skipping that uncanny valley altogether and it just looking like the real person. And that's terrifying. That's some terrifying stuff, and it's going to make this next presidential election really weird, I think, because we're at the time where it's going to start. So that's all it's going to be is every news story is Donald Trump having to prove, no, I did not say how much I loved Hitler.
Right.
Hitler was a great guy. He was my favorite. That guy knew what he was doing. No, that wasn't me. Didn't happen.
Wow.
So if you think we're overblowing this, like how fast AI is happening, let's just take a look at what happened at the AI sphere over the course of 1 week. this very month between June 12th and June 17th. So actually just 6 days. Here's everything that has happened in just 6 days. Microsoft unveils voice control for the desktop version of Bing's AI chatbot. Google Search Generative Experience receives new updates. A Reddit user leaks ChatGPT documents, which shows potential new features. Meta open sources music generator, a music gen. So you can create AI music now. OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Anthropic grant the UK government priority access to their AI models for research and safety purposes. A German church holds an AI-powered church service. UN chief backs idea of global AI watchdog like nuclear agencies. Salesforce launches AI cloud, brings models to the enterprise. Wednesday, the 14th, IBM achieves breakthrough in quantum computing. Adobe launches generative recolor for Adobe Illustrator, powered by Firefly. French AI startup Mistral AI raises highest seed funding ever. AMD unveils the new AI chip M1300X. AI brings John Lennon's voice back to life, and I believe Paul McCartney has said that they are going to be coming out with an AI-generated Beatles album.
Oh my gosh.
The EU passes AI regulation draft law. Google releases new AI shopping feature. Hugging Face launches free QR code AI art generator. Mercedes adds ChatGPT to in-car voice control. Google unveils new virtual try-on feature. And Machine Hack Gen AI launches Datalyze. That's like 20 things.
In 1 week.
In 1 week, in 6 days that has happened. It is coming so fast. Things are changing so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, we're going to take a little break from the fear and talk about AI and faith, including that AI church service mentioned above. But for today, we are out of coffee, so we got to get going.
But before we go, we're going to get our verse of the day. Today's verse is Matthew 5:10. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
And with that, our Tuesday show is coming to a close. Thank you for joining us for Rise and Shine, nerds. We want to invite you to get behind the scenes by joining our LTN Discord community. Once you've joined at lovethynerd.com/Discord, simply go to Channels and Roles and click on the Rise and Shine Nerds channel to gain access to it. You can help us plan shows and segments and even be on the show yourself on occasion. Subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app or through the Love Thy Nerd YouTube channel. And so you don't miss any episodes, make sure you click that little bell and it'll announce when we're coming. And tell us what you think of the show via our socials at Rise and Shine LTN on Facebook and Twitter. Once again, I'm Radio Matt.
I'm Deidra.
And as always, a reminder,
Jesus loves you, nerds.